Similarly, there are other liabilities as well. For example, there are some outstanding expenses being shown in the books of account, currently valued at for example at 3 lakhs. Okay, so these are the these are the book value of the asset and liability. But let's suppose there is reconstitution taking place, there is a change in the existing PSR, or there is a death of any partner, or retirement, or admission is being admitted, one partner is being admitted into partnership. So whenever new partner is admitted, we need to revalue the asset. We need to revalue the asset as well as the liability. So let's suppose after revaluation of the asset and liability, the current market value of the land stands at, let's suppose, 35 lakh. Value of the land increases by 5. Value of the machine, current market value of the machine is only 7 lakhs. The value of the debtors also, let's suppose, decreased by 50,000. For example, it goes down to 4,50,000. Similarly, the liability may also change. The market value of the liability may also change. Let's suppose the value of the creditors declined to 5 lakhs. And similarly, the value of the outstanding expenses increases to 4,50,000. So these are the value of these are the new value of the asset and liability based on the market, based on the changes taking place in the market. So now the question arises, why are we required to revalue the asset and liability? Because reconstitution is taking place, therefore we need to revalue the asset. Now the thing is that whenever we revalue the asset or liability, there will be, on account of such revaluation, there may arise profit. There may be profit on account of such revaluation, or there may be loss on account of such revaluation. So what do you mean by profit or loss? Let me clarify. See, if the value of the asset increases as compared to the book value, the market value is higher than the book value, that means the value of the assets are increasing. And if the value of the assets are increasing, that simply shows there is a profit. Like in our example, the value of the land which was being shown at 30 lakh in the books of account, in the balance sheet, the current market price is actually 35 lakh. That means after the evaluation, the value of the asset will increase by 5 lakh. That means there is going to be a profit. This is a profit, right? I hope this is clear to all of you. Please confirm if it is not. If the value of the land increases from 30 to 35 lakh, that is considered as a profit. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Now similarly, when we talk about machine, the book value of the machine stands at 10 lakh, but the current market price of the machine declined and remained only 7 lakh. That means, tell me whether there is a profit or there is a loss.
Loss.
Correct. This is a loss. And how much is the loss? Loss of rupees? Loss of rupees?
3 lakh.
3 lakhs. Correct. So is it giving you an idea that when the value of the asset increases, it will be considered as a profit? It is a favorable situation, profitable situation. If on account of revaluation, the value of the asset actually declines, it is going to indicate the loss of the business, loss for the partnership firm. And in case of debtor as well, see, the value of the debtor declined from 5 lakh to 4,50,000. That means since debtor is also an asset, right? And if the value of the debtor is decreasing, that means there is a loss of 50,000 in the value of the asset again. Okay, so in case of asset, it is very simple to identify whether there is a profit or loss. If the value of assets is increasing, there is a profit. If the value of the if the value of the assets are decreasing, there is a loss. Right, everyone? If the value of the assets, if assets increases, there is a profit. and if the value of the assets decreases, if the assets decreases, then it will be considered as a loss. Simple. Now when it comes to liability, it is just opposite of the asset. Like when the value of the liability actually reduces, this is a favorable sign for the business. This is a good, this you can say it is a considered as a profitable situation for the business. Like in this case, the value of the creditor declined from 7 to 5 lakh. That means there is a, tell me whether this is good for the business or bad. Is it
Good.
good, right? So the liability was earlier standing at 7 lakh, now stands at 5 lakh only. That means there is a gain. We have a profit since the liability is reducing by 2 lakh. That means we have a profit of 2 lakh. So decrease in the value of the liability, increase the profit. Decrease in liability, decrease in liability increases profit. And similarly, if the value of the liability increases, like in this case, in case of outstanding expenses, see, outstanding expenses earlier stands at 3 lakh. After revaluation, we come to know the outstanding expenses increases to 4,50,000. That means we are having a loss. Loss of how much? We are having a loss of 1,50,000. Our expenses are increasing now. That means that is going to cause the loss in the profit. So it simply means when the value of the liability increases, it causes loss. When liability decreases, it causes profit. But in case of asset, it is completely vice versa. It is just opposite of the liability. Tell me if it is clear or not, everyone.
Yes, sir.
So until now, I just explained that whenever reconstitution take place, either it is account of change in PSR, death, retirement, admission, we need to revalue the asset. And whenever we will be revaluing the asset and liability, there may arise profit or loss. Now, for the purpose of recording the value of the profit or loss, for the purpose of recording the value of the profit or loss on account of the revaluation of the asset and liability, we need to prepare revaluation account. We need to prepare revaluation. So what do we show under the revaluation account? We just show the increase or decrease in the value of the asset and liabilities. Let me show you how it is prepared. This is the format that I'm going to draw. This is the format of the revaluation account. On the left hand side, we have particulars, amount. This is the debit aspect of the account. This is the debit side of the account. And okay. And this is the credit aspect of the account. Particulars. This is the credit side. Now listen to me carefully. Revaluation account is an account which is used to prepare, which is prepared to show the increase or decrease in the value of the asset. So whatever the increase or decrease, that is going to be reflected in the revaluation account. Now how are we going to reflect it? How are we going to show it in the revaluation? How increase or decrease in the value of the assets and liability will be reflected in the revaluation account? So I'm going to explain that. Now see, whenever the value of the assets are increasing, now keep that in mind. Any such event which is causing increase in the profit, anything which is leading to increase in the profit, that means, let's suppose if the value of the assets are increasing, that will be causing increase in the profit. So all such event or activities or such kind of revaluation which may increase the profit of the business will be shown on the credit side of the revaluation. And any revaluation which is going to reduce the amount of profit or increase the amount of loss, such transaction will be recorded on the debit side of the revaluation. So like for example, if there is increase in the value of the asset, so I'm going to write it here on the revaluation account. So let's suppose if the value of the land is increasing, so I'm going to write down by land. Like in our example, the value of land increases by by 50,000, right? Sorry, 5 lakh. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the revaluation account and write down by land. Since there is an increase, so therefore I'm recording it on the credit side, 5 lakh. And if the value of the plant and machinery or any other thing is increasing, so what I'm trying to say is that whenever there is increase in the value of the asset, all increase in value of asset will be shown on the credit side of the revaluation account. Got it, everyone? Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So in our example, for example, let's suppose the value of the furniture increases by 1,50,000, right? So all the value of the asset that is increasing will be shown on the debit side. And if there are any asset, the value of which is decreasing in the market, so such asset will be shown on the, such reduction will be shown on the debit side. Like for example, if the value of the debtors are decreasing, if the value of the debtors are decreasing by, let's suppose, 50,000, this will be reflected on the debit side. If the value of the plant and machinery is also decreasing, for example, plant and machinery, then such reduction will be shown on the, again, let's suppose the value of the plant and machinery declined by 1 lakh, such amount will be shown on the debit side as well. So this was about the changes in asset. Now similarly, when there is change in the value of the liability, so what change will be recorded on the debit side and what kind of change will be recorded on the credit side? So see, whenever such change in the liability is taking place, because of which profit is going to arise, such revaluation will be shown on the credit side of the revaluation account. Like for example, by if the value of the liability reduces, like for example, if the value of the sundry creditor reduces, for example, value of the sundry creditors reduces, if it reduces by, let's suppose, 60,000, so obviously 60,000 decrease in the value of the creditor is a profit for the business. So therefore, I'm going to record it on the credit side of the revaluation account. If the value of the outstanding expenses are increasing, let's suppose outstanding expenses increases by 1,50,000. So where am I going to reflect it? I'm going to show it on the debit side of the revaluation account, right? And one more thing, if there are any unrecorded liability which were not earlier recorded, now if it is required to be recorded in the books of account, then because it is a liability and it will add to the loss of the business, then unrecorded liabilities will also be shown on the debit side, because unrecorded liability is a loss. Now unrecorded liability is a kind of loss, it will also be shown on the debit side of the revaluation account. Let's suppose the unrecorded liability is of rupees 50,000, right? This is it. All these things are recorded on the in the revaluation account. Any such revaluation which is causing profit on the credit side, any revaluation which is decreasing the profit on the debit side. This is it. Now at the end, what are we required to do? We just need to balance both the sides of the account. So for that purpose, we will first of all totally, since the debit side is obviously greater than the credit side, so we will be totaling the debit aspect of the account first. So 5 lakh plus 1,50,000 plus 60,000. How much it will be? It will be 6 lakh 50 plus 7 lakh 10,000, right? So sum total of the debit credit side is 7 lakh 10,000. Tell me if it is clear or not. Sum total of the
Yes.
credit.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So out of 7 lakh 10,000, what are we going to do? We will be subtracting all these items one by one. So out of 7 lakh 10,000, we will be subtracting. Let me show you. Out of 7 lakh 10,000, we will be subtracting 50,000, then 1 lakh out of it, then 1,50,000, and then finally 50,000. So the remaining amount will be, is 3,60,000. See, 3,60,000 is the remaining amount we have got. Now anybody could tell me what this 3,60,000 is actually. This is actually profit. Since the credit side of the account is greater than the debit side, That means we are having profit on account of revaluation, right? We are having a profit on account of, after revaluing the asset and liability, we are having a surplus of 3,60,000 after adjusting all the losses, all the value of the reduction in the debtor, plant and machinery, outstanding expenses, unrecorded liability. After covering all these losses, still we are left with 3,60,000 of profit. So this is what, this is our revaluation profit. So this profit will be transferred to whom? Who is going to bear? Who is going to get this amount, this much of profit? Tell me, who is going to get this profit?
Partners.
Partners. In what ratio they will be getting this?
Old.
Correct. So to profit transfer to partners capital account. Partners capital. And after distributing it among the partner, the one last thing that we need to do is just to tally both the sides of the account, 7,10,000 and 7,10,000. This is it. So this is how we prepare the revaluation account. All you need to remember is that whenever there is increase in asset, it is of profitable situation, will be shown on the debit side, credit side, sorry, I'm sorry, credit side of the revaluation account. Whenever there is decrease in liability, such decrease will be shown on the credit side. And vice versa, if there is decrease in asset will be shown on debit side. Increase in liability indicates loss. Such increase will also be shown on the debit side. And after adjusting the debit side out of the credit side, if we are getting a profit, such profit will be distributed to the partners in the old PSR. And sir, what about if the debit is less than the credit? Let's suppose the debit side is greater than the credit side. If that means the losses are higher than the profit, then in such a situation, the net value will be loss. So such loss will be transferred to tell me, partners in the old PSR, right?
Yes, sir.
Everybody, is this clear? Okay.
Clear.
So this is all about the profit, the revaluation account. Let me show you and explain it one more time through the PowerPoint. So see, what I've told you, that revaluation is what a revaluation account is determined to net is an outline which is to determine the net profit or loss on revaluation of the asset and liabilities, and including those items that are unrecorded into books. Right. Revaluation account is prepared at the time of admission of a partner, or in case of a death of a partner, or sometime on account of the change in the PSR. The revaluation of profit or loss is transferred to the capital account of all the partners. That is what I was telling you. After adjusting the net profit or loss, the amount will be transferred to the partners capital account. If there is a profit, partners capital account will be credited by the amount of profit. If there is a loss, then in such a situation, partners capital account will be debited by such loss. Okay, and obviously the distribution will be in their old profit sharing ratio. Done, everyone? Is this clear to all of you?
Yes.
Okay, just do one thing. Please take the screenshot of this so that you can later note it down in your notebooks. Since we do not have much time, if you'll start writing it, it will take a lot of time, and we won't be left with any time in this session. So I would recommend just take the screenshot for now, but make sure you later note this down in your notebooks. Done?
Done, sir.
Okay. Moving on to the format of the revaluation account. How do we prepare revaluation account? So as I told you, whenever you prepare the revaluation account, any increase in the value of the asset is indicated on the credit side. Any decrease in the value of the liability again will be shown on the credit side. Any decrease in the value of the asset on the debit side. Any increase in the value of the liability on the debit side. And if there are any unrecorded liability as well, such liabilities adding to the loss of the business, so therefore it is being recorded on the debit side again. And after adjusting all the profit and losses, what are we required to do? We just need to determine whether there is a profit or there is a loss. If there is a profit, then partners capital account will be credited in the old ratio. If there is a loss, in such a situation, we will be debiting partners capital account. Right, all of you? Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just do one more thing. Take the screenshot of this as well, and make sure you note this down in your notebook as well after the session.
Done.
Okay. Now let's talk about the treatment of the revaluation. This is important since we will be doing question based on this concept in today's session. So let's talk about how do we treat revaluation. Until now, what we just discussed what is revaluation, why it is prepared, what lead to the preparation of the revaluation account, how it is prepared. All these things we discussed, we understood this. Now we need to understand how do we treat the revaluation. If revaluation is taking place on account of reconstitution, then how are we going to deal with such revaluation? So treatment of revaluation. Treatment of revaluation. See, how are we going to treat revaluation of the asset and liability? Obviously, I'm talking about the revaluation of the asset and liability. So how are we going to treat or deal with the revaluation of the asset and liability? It depends upon two factors. Number one is whether partners are willing to show the new value, the revalued asset and liability in the books of account, or they do not wish to show the new value of the asset and liabilities in the books of account. So there are two situations. Number one could be partners want to show the revalued asset and liabilities in the books of account. So what do you mean by they want to show it in the books of account? That means they want to change the old values of the asset and liability to the new value. Like if the value of the land is being reflected at 30 lakh currently, but the current market value is actually 35 lakh. So what partner may choose to change the value to 35 lakh. Number one, this could be one situation. This is known as they wanted to revalue the assets and liability. They wanted to change the books of account. They want to change the value of the asset and liability in the books of account. Number one. And secondly, the other situation could be they want to keep the value of the land as it is, 30 lakh. They do not wish to change the existing value of the book of the asset and liability in the books of account. So if they do not wish to change the value of the asset and liability as per the new value, as per the revalued value, then in such a case the treatment will be different. And if they want to show, if they want to change the books of the value of the asset, they want to revise the value of the asset, in such a case the treatment will be different. So if they want to show the evaluation, if they want to revise the value of the asset in the books of account, then in such a case we have to prepare the revaluation account. We need to prepare revaluation account. Got it, everyone? If partners have decided to revise the value of the asset and liability based on the market price, based on the revaluation, then we need to prepare the revaluation account. This will be the treatment of the revalued asset and liability. And if partners have decided not to show or not to revise the values of asset and liability in the books of account, then in such a situation the treatment will be different. Sir, how different it will be? In the second situation, we won't be required to prepare evaluation account. We just need to pass an adjustment entry. This is it. This is it. Adjustment entry will be required. And I'm sure that all of you must remember how do we pass adjustment entry. Adjustment entry is gaining partners capital account, gaining partners capital account to sacrificing partners capital account. Everybody remember that, na? Whenever we need to pass the
Yes.
adjustment entry,
Yes.
we pass the general entry. Every time the adjustment entry is required, we just pass the general entry. Okay, so I hope the thing is clear. When it comes to treatment of revaluation, there are two possible situation. Number one, partner may decide to revise the value of the asset and liability in the books of account as well. Number two, they are not willing to revise the value of the book asset and liability in the books of account. So if they have agreed to, they are willing to revise the value of the asset and liability, they want to indicate the revalued asset and liability in the books of account, then in such a situation, it is compulsory to prepare the revaluation account. And if they are not willing to revise the books of account or revise the value of the asset and liability being reflected in the balance sheet, then in such a case, adjustment entry will do the work only. Okay, so just one more thing. Also, if it is possible, just note this down quickly. Treatment of revaluation. I want all of you to note it down right now. And if anyone is having any doubt, Halima, Aman, and Sania, please let me know so that I can clarify. Otherwise, just note it down. Let me know when you are done, and then we will continue with the question. Anyone having any doubt? Aman, Halima, Sania.
No, sir.
No.
Aman, do you have any doubt?
No, sir.
No. Okay.
Done, sir.
Okay. Everyone else, please confirm.
Done.
Okay. All right. So, guys, since you understood the things regarding revaluation, so I think we can start with a question. Okay. So we will first of all do this question number 85. All right. Question number 85. So before starting with question number 85, just let's just read it once. So question 85 is simple. It is saying that there are three partners A, B, and C, right? And they were sharing profit and losses in the ratio of 2:1, 2:2:1. Now they decided to change the profit sharing ratio to 5:3:2. Since the profit sharing ratio is changing, that clearly means reconstitution is taking place. Now question further tells us that they also decided not to change the value of the asset and liability in the books of account. Now see, this is very, very important. They also decided not to change the value of the asset, right? They have decided not to change the value of the asset and liability. Okay, that means that whatever the revaluation is taking place, such revalued asset and liability will not be taken into consideration for the purpose of recording it into the books of account. The new value won't be recorded in the books of account. Okay, so that means this question clearly falls under the second category, right?
Yes.
Everyone, is this clear now? So since it is not to be recorded in the books of account, we are not going to change the value of the books of account. That means we are dealing with the second situation. Now the book value and revised value is given to us. The book value, the existing book value is this, and the revised value of the asset and liability is given to us. Now the value of the machinery stands at 2,50,000. The revised value is 3 lakh. Value of the computer is 2 lakh, and the revised value is 1,75,000. Then the value of the sundry creditors is 90,000. 75,000 is the a new value. Then outstanding expenses 15,000, and the new value of the asset and the outstanding expenses is 25,000. All right. Now, question is telling us to pass the adjustment entry. So, number one question is itself saying that we are not required to prepare the revaluation. Question is specifically mentioning that just do the adjustment entry. So, and one more thing, question also mentioned that we are not required to show the changed value in the books of account. That means even if this isn't mentioned, in that situation also we will be doing the adjustment entry anyways, right? We would have done the adjustment entry only, right? Everyone, is this clear to all of you?
Yes.
Even if this point is not mentioned, we would have just passed the adjustment entry anyways. The question is giving us the current book value and the revised book value, and then the old PSR and the new PSR is also given, and we know what kind of treatment we need to do in such a situation where partners have decided not to change the book value. We just need to pass the adjustment entry, which is the gaining partners capital account need to be debited to the sacrificing partners capital account. But before that, we need to first of all find out their the gaining and the sacrificing shares. Since at the time of passing the general entry, we will have to debit the gaining partners capital account and sacrificing partners capital account need to be credited. So for that purpose, we will have to determine the value of the gaining, determine the shares gaining and the sacrificing shares. So solution to question number 85. So first of all, we will be calculating the gaining and sacrificing shares of the partner, and I'm sure that all of you already know how to do that calculation. Yes. All right, so start writing this down along with me, and if it is possible, please calculate the gaining and the sacrificing shares. Calculation showing and sacrifice. Okay, so the formula for finding out the gaining and sacrificing shares is very simple. The new profit sharing, the new PSR minus the old PSR. This is the formula. I hope every one of you remember this, right?
Yes, sir.
So now A, B, and C, there are 3 partners. And earlier the profit sharing ratio of the partners were 2:2:1. So that means A was sharing the profits and losses in the ratio of 2:1. B was also partner for 2:1. Sorry, not 2:1, 2:3. 2 by 5, 2 by 5, and 1 by 5. And the new PSR is 5:3:2. So that means the new profit sharing ratio is 5 by 10, 3 by 10, and 2/10. Any doubt, anyone? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. So in order to subtract 2 by 5 out of 5 by 10,
1 by
it will
10.
be, yes, correct, 5 minus 4, that will be 1 by 10. And in this situation, it will
Minus
be
3 by 10.
3 and 4, and this is 10. So it will be minus 1 by 10. No?
So
Right?
6, right? 3 minus 6. Oh, sorry, sir.
Mm,
Yes,
So
sir.
it will be
4,
4.
4.
No? Then it will be again 10, 2 minus 4. Sorry, 2 minus 2. So that will be 0. So 0. That will be 0 by 10. So that will be 0, obviously. So this gives us the gaining and the sacrificing shares. Since A is having a positive share, positive value, so that means A is gaining, right? And B is having a negative value, that means B is sacrificing. Right, and for C there is no profit, no loss. Done, everyone? Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Or if you noted this
Yes.
down?
Yes.
Okay. Now we need to pass the adjustment entry. So for adjustment entry, we are sure that since A is gaining and B is sacrificing, so the general entry is going to be A's capital account will be debited, obviously. A's capital account will be debited. To B's capital account. Right, everyone? Now the thing is that by what amount we will be debiting and crediting partner's capital account. So in order to determine the value by which their account will be debited or credited, we will have to find out the profit or loss arising on account of revaluation. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So for that purpose, we have to prepare one more extra working note. Working note for what purpose? For finding out the profit or loss on revaluation of the asset and liability. On revaluation. So on account, because of the revaluation, it is happening. First of all, the value of the, see, let me show you. The value of the machinery, which was earlier at rupees 2,50,000, now revised, and now the value of the machinery comes at 3 lakh. So tell me whether there is a profit or a loss. Tell me if the value of the machinery increases from 2,50,000 to 3 lakh. So it is a profitable situation. It is a profit or a loss.
Profit.
Yes. So anyone is still doubtful about this? Value of the assets are increasing now. If the assets
Yes.
increases, that obviously is a profit. So profit of how much? Profit of 50,000.
50,000.
And let's talk about computer. The value of computers were 2 lakh. Now it reduced to 1,75,000 only. So tell me whether there is a profit or a loss.
Loss.
25,000.
Loss.
Loss.
Loss of 25,000. Correct. Perfect. Now these are the machinery and computer were the asset. Now let's talk about the creditors. Sundry creditor is a liability. Now tell me if the value of the creditor is increases of from 90,000 it reduced to 75,000. So tell me there is a profit or a loss?
Loss.
Loss. Liability is reducing. Now if
Profit.
liability is reducing, obviously it is a profit. It is a
15.
profit. 15,000. Perfect. And what about outstanding expenses? Outstanding expenses increases. So if outstanding expenses are increasing and outstanding expenses is a liability, if
So
liability is increasing, that is obviously a
loss.
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 Perfect. Okay. Now coming back to our working note section, how I'm going to write it down. See, first of all, the first thing was the value of the machinery. Right, machinery increases by 50,000. Machinery increases by 50,000. Since The value of machine increased by 50,000, so I just put the positive sign in front of the 50,000. Similarly, after that, there is a decrease in the value of the computer by 25,000, right? So computer reduced by 25,000. So I'm putting a negative sign since the value of the computers are decreasing, negative 25,000. After that, the value of the sundry creditors. Sundry creditors, even though the value of the sundry creditor is decreasing, but such decrease is causing profit, right? Such decrease in the value of the sundry creditor is profitable. So there is a profit of how much? There is a profit of 15,000. So this is, therefore I'm using a positive sign in front of the sundry creditor. On the other hand, if we talk about the outstanding expenses, what happened to outstanding expenses? Outstanding expenses increase from 15 to 25,000. That means profit will be reduced by 10,000 for it. So therefore 10,000 negative. Got it, everyone? Is this clear?
Yes.
I am writing positive or the negative value depending upon how it is going to affect the profitability of the business. If it is going to increase the profit, then therefore then in such a situation I'll be putting positive sign. If it is reducing the profit, then I'll be using the negative sign. I hope this is clear to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. After adjusting all these values, see, we are having a plus 50 plus 15. This will be 65,000 positive, right, everyone? And the negative value is 25,000 plus 10,000. That will be minus 35,000. So after adjusting 65 minus 35, the remaining value will be, tell me, the remaining value will be 30,000, right, everyone? Now tell
Yes.
me whether this will be a positive balance or the negative balance. Since 65,000 is greater than 35,000
Positive.
and it is having a positive value, that means it will also be a positive balance. So if it is a positive balance, that means there is a profit on revaluation, profit on account of revaluation, profit on revaluation of assets and liabilities. How much is the profit for? The profit is of 30,000. Now the question arises, how are we going to deal with the revaluation profit? How are we going to deal? Since
Share among
the value of the asset and liability is not going to be revised and not to be shown in the books of account, that means we will be adjusting the revaluation profit among the partner and their gaining and the sacrificing shares. So that means this 30,000 will be divided among the partners in their gaining and sacrificing shares. So that means 130 by 10, it will be 3,000. Na? So 3,000 will be debited to partners capital account, A's partners capital account, and 3,000 will be credited to B partners capital. Got it, everyone? Is this clear? And we need to write down the narration as well. So we'll be writing B being, what is happening here? Being profit on revaluation is adjusted, right? It just is adjusted among partners. Got it, everyone? Is this clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So have you guys noted this down, or you want some more time to write it?
Done.
Done, sir.
Done, everyone done?
Yes.
Okay. All right, everyone. So this is it for today's class. I'm giving you one question for your homework as well. Question number 86 will be homework. All right, everyone. Question number 86 will be homework. However, this question is not completely based on the revaluation. See, let me explain this. See, question is saying that there are two partners, Bhavya and Sakshi, right? And their profit sharing ratio were 3:2. Now there is a change in the PSR, profit sharing ratio is changing, and you are provided with the balance sheet, right? And there are other additional information is also given to you. Now see, First of all, just look at the value of the asset: furniture, land and building, asset, trade receivable, cash in hand. On the liability side, we have sundry debtor, general reserve, investment fluctuation reserve, Bhavia's capital, and Sakshi's capital account. Now, see, first of all, look at the value of the investment in the balance sheet. The book value of the investment in the balance sheet is of how much? 30,000, right? Everyone, is this clear?
Yes.
And now tell me, what is the current market price of the investment? The
20,000.
investment to be valued. This is the investment. This is the current market price of the investment. Now tell me whether the value of the investment is increasing or decreasing.
Decreasing.
Decreasing, right? There is a reduction. And
Yes.
whether we have any kind of reserve to compensate this loss. Answer is yes. We have a reserve of rupees 20,000 by the name of investment fluctuation fund, or you can also call it reserve. So we already have prepared investment fluctuation reserve of rupees 20,000. That means we have already anticipated that the value of the investment may decline up to 20,000. But thankfully, the value of the investment only declined to 20,000. That means there is a reduction in the value of the investment by only 10,000. So tell me, this loss of 10,000 can be adjusted through the investment fluctuation fund, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So you already know how to treat the investment fluctuation reserve, na? We already discussed the treatment of the investment and the treatment of the investment fluctuation reserve. I hope this is clear to all of you already, and you will be able to solve this. Tell me if it is not. So see, in this situation one, the general entry will be first of all, investment fluctuation fund account will be debited by 20,000, right? Then the value of the investment declined by 10,000, na? So to investment account 10,000, and remaining 10,000 will be distributed among the partner in the old PSR. That means to Bhavia's capital account to Sakshi's capital account. Got it, everyone? Will you be able to solve this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to the second additional information: goodwill of the firm valued at 24,000. Now tell me if you are able to recall. See, since question is saying that the value of the goodwill is valued, so is it clear that this is not the purchased goodwill, this is the valued goodwill, right? And
Yes.
if it is the valued goodwill, how are we going to deal with this? Treatment of the goodwill depends upon two factors. Number one, if it is the purchased goodwill, we need to write it off, right? We need
Yes.
to write off. And if it is the valued goodwill, we just need to tell me, what are we required to do when it is
Adjustment entry.
correct? We need to pass the adjustment entry. So in this situation, we will be passing the adjustment entry, gaining partner's capital account to sacrificing partner's capital account, right? Then it comes to the general reserve. What is general reserve? Is not to be distributed between the partner. Again, if question tells us that it is not to be distributed among the partner, that means we need to pass the adjustment entry regarding the general reserve as well. And see, the value of the general reserve stands at 23,400. So what are we required to do with the general reserve? We need to adjust it among the partners in the old and in the gaining and in their sacrificing share. Then everyone will be able to solve it or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So we just need to pass the general entry regarding the investment, goodwill, and the general reserve. This is it. This question is not at all based on the revaluation. This question is just you can consider it as a revision question based on the previous topics that we have discussed. The topic that we discussed based on the investment, goodwill, and the general reserve. All those topics are compiled in one question only. Okay, so this will be a homework. Just take the screenshot of this question if it is okay. Just take the screenshot of this. I'm not giving you any other question. This is the only homework for you. And in the next class, on Wednesday, we will be discussing more questions based on the revaluation. In fact, we will be learning how to prepare evaluation in the next class. We will be solving questions specifically based on the evaluation. Okay, so I hope everything that we discussed in today's session is clear. We started our discussion with the treatment of the evaluation. First of all, we understood what is actually evaluation, how actually it looks, and how evaluation is to be treated. So we dealt with all the situation, all the different cases. I hope all these things are clear to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is it. Thank you so much, Sania, Halima, and Aman.
Thank
We
you,
will
sir.
discuss more thing from this onward in the on Wednesday session.